Kick him again. Kick him again. On the shoulder. On the shoulder. Again.
It's back. The swamp sinks under a cold layer of mist, so still it feels like even the air has stopped moving. The water may look calm at first glance, but for the people who live around here, that calm is nothing more than a thin cover hiding a predator buried in the dark mud below. A creature patient, silent, and waiting for the exact moment to explode upward like lightning from the water's depths. The alligators here are stronger, faster, and bolder than the stories suggest. One sudden burst from beneath the surface is enough to make anyone standing near the bank step back immediately. Today, we're heading deep into the swamp to document the ongoing effort to manage one of the most dangerous predators in the American South. Not to challenge nature, but to protect the families who live right along the edge where water meets mud, where hunting instincts are always waiting just beneath that glass-still surface. Subscribe to Famigo Farm and follow the journey ahead. That silence is only the moment before everything explodes. The mudflat ahead is eerily still. No wind, no birds. Only the soft roll of water touching the bank like held-back breaths. Then a small whirlpool appears, spins once,
Right in front of it.
and disappears. That single moment is enough to make the whole team stop. A movement,
Right.
faint, deep, but intentional. Seconds later, the surface begins to rise into a long, bending arc. A dark patch of back glides across, almost blending into the mud's color. It doesn't charge. It slides. Silent, precise, calculated. Roughly 100 feet out, but the line of water pushing straight toward our position says it already sensed motion from afar. The shooter drops to one knee, planting an elbow for support, keeping his breathing steady. The scope lifts, locking onto the spot where the water just trembled. The whole area sinks into dead quiet, broken only by the tiny shift of metal against metal, and the sound of water breathing beneath the mud. The creature keeps closing in. Each time it rolls its body, the water behind it fans out in a soft spiral, signs it's picking up speed. From a distance, only its back ridge breaks the surface, while all of its real power remains hidden under the thick black mud. The gap shrinks quickly, 20 meters, 15. Then, suddenly, it stops. 1 second. 2. The entire surface freezes like someone pressed pause. No one knows what it's watching beneath that murky water. And then, it bursts upward in a violent surge, tearing the water open like a blade slicing through air. The gunshot cracks right after.
If you can get a shot at him.
Echoing into the gray curtain of fog ahead. That moment, when any hesitation turns dangerous, has arrived. Because in places like this, you don't act for glory. You act to keep people safe. To understand why that explosive launch is so dangerous, you have to look at the true nature of this predator. Alligators aren't loud hunters. They survive through patience and absolute concealment. Beneath that murky mud, their bodies can stay nearly motionless for hours, waiting for the moment a target comes close. When it does, the strike happens faster than the human eye can follow. Clean, sharp, and overwhelmingly powerful. Their bite force can exceed 2,000 psi, but what makes them truly terrifying isn't just strength. It's the way they approach their target in total silence. A single off-pattern ripple or the faintest crack of mud is enough to trigger an attack. That silence creates moments no one expects. An ambush on an antelope drinking at the bank, a sudden lunge at a calf, or the way they snatch a fish straight off someone's line. It's that quiet persistence that pushes them into boundaries humans never imagined would be breached. Across many southern swamps, these predators have moved deeper into residential areas, livestock ponds, backyard edges, even small lakes once thought safe. They attack pets, damage pond banks, and can reach the waterline in seconds. Those sudden bursts have forced many families to change how they live around the water, because the danger here always hides just out of sight. Managing them isn't about challenging nature. It's about keeping balance for communities that live beside the swamp. When their numbers grow too high, they compete for food, drift closer to neighborhoods, and create risks that can't be ignored. Proper management protects people, livestock, and the ecosystem from slipping into a dangerous imbalance. And in waters where instinct always overpowers reason, control isn't a battle against nature. It's how humans and the wild can continue to exist side by side safely. In that context, hunting season isn't just a schedule. It's a necessary response to a force pushing closer to the community. When the early heat settles across the American South, the surface of the swamps begins to shift. Moisture rises from cracked mudflats. Insects echo through the reeds. And that's when alligator season officially opens, part of a natural cycle that has tied people and these waters together for generations. In Florida, the season runs from August to November, aligning with the time when mature alligators move more frequently, becoming more active along river systems and the vast freshwater lakes. The deeper summer goes, the higher the temperatures climb, and the more unpredictable the movements beneath the surface become, making the timing of population control even more critical.
Position setting aim on a prehistoric monster of a crocodile. And as big as they are, the target you need to hit is only about the size of a golf ball. If you miss, it could spell disaster.
Reload.
Louisiana opens its season in September, a short but intense 30-day window. It's the state with the densest wetlands in the country, where even a slight shift in weather or water levels can push these predators unusually close to residential areas. In Texas, the schedule is more flexible, opening anywhere from June to October, depending on the county and the ecosystem. Shallow forest edge waters, old canal systems, and man-made lakes can all become hotspots when local populations increase. Permitted hunting locations stretch across the South. Expansive lakes, deep mud basins hidden in the woods, canal lines running behind neighborhoods, and swamps accessible only by flat-bottom boats. Each place has its own character, but they all sit along the natural travel routes of this predator. In these waters, people often live right on the boundary of the wild. So when the season opens, it isn't just a tradition. It's a form of protection for the community, reducing risks for livestock owners, for children playing near ponds, and for those who work daily in the damp, unforgiving environment of the swamp. During this period, wildlife control teams work closely with licensed hunters, picking the right tracking windows, assessing population density, and marking high-risk zones. Some areas even open early when numbers rise too quickly, or when weather patterns push alligators unusually close to homes. And in this landscape of water, mud, and reeds, the hunt isn't simply about removing an animal. It's part of a broader effort to preserve a fragile balance, ensuring that humans and the wild can continue to exist side by side without crossing each other's boundaries.
Get it. Good job. Another one. All right, here we go.
Shoot him again. Shoot him again. On the shoulder, on the shoulder.
To carry out the mission at the right place and the right moment, our path led us deeper into another swamp, darker and far more unpredictable. As we moved farther in, the air around the group shifted completely. The water turned darker, the mud underfoot softened, and the reeds grew so thick that the light only fell in thin, scattered strips. The guide picked a route ahead, while the rest of the team kept their pace slow to avoid making any sound. We reached a patch of open water near the bank, a place locals often mentioned as a regular travel lane for the larger individuals. First, a wooden stake was chosen and driven deep into the dense mud right at the water's edge. Every strike had to be firm and decisive, because the entire bait setup would depend on that stake holding in place. If it wasn't solid, even a light pull from below could send all our preparations drifting away. Once the stake stood secure, the buffalo bait was brought in. A heavy cut with a strong scent was set directly into the water at the stake's base, exactly where these predators often slide up to feed during the heat of midday. Only one bait point is placed, forcing whatever lurks beneath the mud to come close. Then, the specialized line was prepared. A thick, high-tensile cord was wrapped tightly around the stake to create a firm anchor. Every knot was checked carefully, one by one. Finally, a large steel hook was attached to the end of the line. Each connector was tightened down to make sure there were no weak points that could snap loose when the animal struck. When everything was ready, the water went still, as if waiting for something. The team spread out, each person choosing a spot in the reeds with a clear view but full cover. No one moved suddenly, no rustling, only the soft tap of water brushing against the bank like the swamp's own slow breathing. In that bowstring-tight moment, everything has to be ready, from the hiding positions to every piece of equipment we carry. In swamp environments like this, choosing a weapon isn't just about power. It's about stability, accuracy, and above all, strict compliance with local regulations. Today, we're using 3 different rifle setups, each serving a specific role. Along the near-shore watch line, the .22 Magnum is the most practical choice. Lightweight, low recoil, and extremely stable when fired from a kneeling or seated position, especially effective in situations that require quick handling while still keeping the surrounding area safe. At the mid-range observation post, the 375 H&H Magnum is used as an intermediate configuration. It's a highly reliable rifle with excellent penetration and a consistent trajectory when shooting through the heavy humidity that hangs over the swamp. It's not just powerful. It's built to function in harsh conditions: fog, high moisture, and mud that can reach your knees. And at the final rear position, the primary shooter carries the 375 Dakota, a large caliber rifle with exceptional stability, often used when shots need to be taken from a distance or when the animal surfaces beyond the near bank range. It kicks harder, but the trajectory is straight, solid, and dependable, ideal for shots that demand absolute decisiveness. All rifles are fitted with optical scopes, allowing the shooter to lock onto a target even when sunlight reflects on it, or when only the smallest part of the animal breaks the muddy surface. In swamp terrain, even the slightest hand movement or unstable footing can throw a shot off course, so every trigger pull depends on breath control and a firm anchor point. Even with multiple setups in play, the core principle never changes. Every action must follow local law, ensure human safety, and stay strictly within the boundaries of what's permitted.
Perfect like that.
When the mission ends, the marsh settles back into its quiet, though for those living nearby, that calm is never complete. Here, the line between humans and nature is fragile. Just one careless moment can turn dangerous. Today, we finished our authorized control work. not to show skill or challenge nature, but to protect local families, their livestock, and the land already under ecological pressure. In a place where deep mud hides ancient instincts, human action is a responsibility to keep the wild alive and to keep people safe beside it. If you enjoy journeys like this, subscribe to Famigo Farm for more stories.